This is Republic Niva Bhupa Studio, your one stop for all the breaking updates. I am Rakshita Mishra.
From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for The Debate.
Arnab Goswami on The Debate at 10, powered by Reva University, Quick Heal Secrite, Policy Bazaar, co-powered by 99acres.com, Dark Editions by Tata Motors.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's time for the nation's sharpest opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, 80,439 are all pending cases in the Supreme Court as of 2023. It was an all-time high. As opposed, ladies and gentlemen, as opposed to the Supreme Court in the United States of America that heard about 70 cases a year, the Supreme Court of India is estimated to hear 700 plus legal matters every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just phenomenal. But dear viewers, for a system so committed, so robust to deliver justice to the people, is it a waste of time to flood the courts, inundate the courts, all kinds of petitions and PILs? Especially those which are settled matters by the parliament, by the executive. Just waste the time of the court in that. When there are so many important matters, if every action of the executive starts getting questioned in the courts, does it not raise different issues, serious questions? Today, ladies and gentlemen, the Modi government was once again reiterating that Rohingyas have no fundamental right to reside in India. Of course they don't. If they're illegal infiltrators, they don't have a fundamental right. What is there to discuss? Debate. The government impressed upon the honorable courts that the domain of policy and legislature are domains left to the right of parliament, and I totally agree, and so does the court, I'm sure. So does the court. Policy is for the government to do. Otherwise, what's the point of having a government? What's the point of having parliament? Because in the year 2022, the very Supreme Court that heard the PIL today is the very same Supreme Court which in the context of Rohingya said that there are some issues best left to the executive. So settle the matter. So the honorable courts are acutely mindful that the domains of the executive and the judiciary are exclusive and coexist independent of one another. But all settled matters go to the courts. All activists go to the courts. Every day there are thousands of petitions. All petitions will be discussed, debated as high constitutional matters. The courts have so many important things to do, rather than keep hearing whether Rohingyas should have a right to live in India. And there is an increasing discussion these days about whether there is a thrilling trend of opposition parties directly or through proxies rushing to the courts to settle matters that they cannot or address or counter politically. Now, for them to do that, if these opposition parties or groups want to decide policy matters, there is a simple way. Fight the election, get elected, have the numbers in parliament, pass your laws, decide your policy, run your government. But why make the courts do what you can't do? And whether the courts should entertain these things at all or not, or dismiss a large number of petitions as frivolous petitions, especially on matters which are purely under the domain, command, and prerogative of the executive of India, the democratically elected government of India, the democratically elected policymakers of India. Because the government is now increasingly being brought in, whether it's the Rohingya case, whether it's a CA case, whether it's the election commission appointment, whether this or that or this or that. Constantly, the government has been of late reiterating and impressing in the courts the right of parliament to govern, the right of the government to formulate laws, the right of the government to execute policy, because they have been elected to do it. We are going through a general election. And as a citizen, I also believe that many people have started to file petitions which are quasi-political, which I believe are quasi-causes of the opposition. And this matrix of NGO workers and rent-a-cause activists have a mirroring agenda to the opposition causes. So then the question arises on whether the courts can or should entertain PILs by this brigade at all. I'm not talking about a specific case, but this is the broad trend. Because the unelected quasi-opposition, wearing the hat of NGO activists, will start playing the role of the opposition, and the courts will be asked to settle scores that the opposition cannot in parliament. That is not the right way to go about it. That is not right for the country. That is not right for our democracy. And that is my firm view. Let's debate.
हम कोई ज़्यादा लोग नहीं है, 40-45 हज़ार लोग इंडिया में हैं, ऑल इंडिया में मिला के। तो इतनी लोगों को सरकार रख भी सकती है, भेज भी सकती है कहीं भी। तो हमें कोई किसी से रखेगा तब भी हम खुशी हैं, नहीं रखेंगे तब भी हम खुशी हैं। सरकार जो करेंगे उसमें हम एग्री हैं, राजी हैं, हम उनके खिलाफ नहीं जाएंगे।
हम लोग को बुद्धिस्ट सरकार जो है ना, रकाइन स्टेट में हम लोग रहते थे, वहाँ पे हमारे घर वर जला दिया, मस्जिद जला दिया, बहुत हम लोग को जुल्म हुआ है। हम लोग सुनते थे वहाँ पे बड़े बड़े लोगों से, इंडिया बहुत अच्छा जगह है, इंडिया में इंसानियत है। फिल्म भी देखते थे हम लोग यहाँ की, बहुत अच्छा लगता था हम लोग को। शौक ये था कि इंडिया में जाके हम लोग ज़िंदगी गुजार लेंगे।
This was the response after Centre has made its stand clear on infiltration of Rohingyas by opposing a plea to protect them in the Supreme Court.
The affidavit filed by the Centre before the topmost court of the country makes certain things very clear on Rohingyas, that they are illegal immigrants, they have no right to settle and reside. In fact, as per law, there is a constitutional mandate under the Foreigners Act to deport any illegals, and there are a number of Supreme Court verdicts, including the Sarbaran Sonowal versus the Union of India, in which the topmost court of the country has said clearly that all illegals should be deported.
The Centre has made it clear that whether or not any class of persons are to be recognized as refugees is a pure policy decision, and declaration of refugees can't be made by judicial order. The Centre has claimed the continued illegal migration and stay of the Rohingyas have serious ramifications for national security. Can there be any recognition of refugee status outside the legislative framework? Let's debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sardar R.P. Singh of the BJP, Swapnil Kothari, senior lawyer, Pulla Rao, who backs the DMK. We've seen their manifesto today. Advocate Tala Amir Rashidi of the Rashtriya Ulama Council, and Subhash Chandran KR is a CPIM lawyer. I start with you, Mr. Subhash Chandranji. What is there to discuss and debate? This entire matter about Rohingyas has been settled by government policy.
We are discussing about the pending matters in Supreme Court. And when you face a challenge in your life, you have rushed to the Supreme Court for the bail. When Mr. Arnab Goswami was facing a challenge in his life, when the political opponents were filing multiple FIR in different states against Mr. Arnab Goswami, so he rushed to the Supreme Court for getting a relief from the Supreme Court. And this is not applicable for the poor Rohingya. This is not applicable for the poor people of this country.
One minute. Subhash Chandranji, I have a very quick response to you.
Goswami is the citizen of the country. What are you?
One minute. Mr. R.P. Singh, please wait. Everyone on. Mr. R.P. Singh, please wait. He made a reference to me. I'll reply to him. He made a reference to me. I'll reply to him. He made a reference to me, R.P. Singh. I'll reply to him. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute. No. Mr. R.P. Singh, he made a reference to me, not to you. I'm replying to him. Thank you very much. No, please, sir. We're wasting time. 1 minute. Now, I was born in this country. My forefathers are from this country. Both my grandfathers are freedom fighters. Okay? I was born in Guwahati, not in Myanmar. At no age did I infiltrate into the country.
Arnab,
I am not a Rohingya.
According to me,
so I think that's the stupidest comparison that you could have made. 1 point. 1 minute. So the stupidest comparison you can make, ladies and gentlemen, that why you can go to the courts but a Rohingya can't go. Yes, because I'm a citizen of this country. Second point, Mr. Chandran, please understand. Please understand. No, 1 minute. Arey, 1 minute, wait. 1 minute, wait. Wait, listen to me. The stupidest argument am I a Rohingya? Is this what I have to hear today? Should people say, oh, but you have an Indian passport, why can't a Rohingya have an Indian passport? Well, because he's a Rohingya, I'm not.
I also filed a petition on
this is the limit of wokeness.
And this is pending since 2017.
I've seen woke argument. What is this argument?
And my petition on behalf of the Rohingya
one more, 1 second.
Since 2017. And you don't question the wisdom or the capacity of the Supreme Court judges. They have found some prima facie case in the Rohingyas. That's why in 2017 the Supreme Court has intervened. They have issued the notice. And the matter is pending
I have my view.
So don't question the wisdom of the Supreme Court.
Mr. Chandran, should we hear the opposite view now? Now that I have successfully established and hopefully proven to you that I am not an illegal infiltrator in this country, I would like to hear a response from the other side. My limited point is I respect the courts tremendously. And with the highest of the respect to the courts, I am of a view as a citizen of India that there are many pending matters that come up before the courts. And don't tell me that I don't respect the legal process, because I will tell you, don't teach me the legal process, sir. I respect the legal process. 1 minute, sir. When a case was filed against me by a retired Supreme Court judge, listen, Mr. Chandran, you have to have patience to listen.
Please.
When a case was filed against me by a retired Supreme Court judge, by a retired Supreme Court judge, no less. And when the case was that on the channel that I was the editor of, by mistake, one picture went of a wrong person. The judge took offense, the case went to the Supreme Court. Don't tell me. My lawyers, the highest lawyers of the country at that time, Harish Salve, Gopal Subramaniam, stood up in the court. My plea was dismissed by saying, first put 20 crore rupees. And 20 crore rupees as some kind of a, it's what you call a collateral or something, had to be registered. And it was duly followed. And by the way, don't you dare pick up my case, because my case, when I went not to the Supreme Court, when I went to the High Court, saying these people have filed a false case against me, I was told, go back to the lower courts, come to the High Court through the due process, which I followed. So please do not try to drag my case in every case. Tomorrow you will say Arnab Goswami's case should be used to justify Rohingyas. Am I a Rohingya? I take offense to what you have said, Mr. Chandran.
They have a right.
My point is my limited. No, sir, there is a limit. You will use my case to defend every Maoist, okay? But now you'll use it to defend Rohingyas, not okay, sir. My point being, it is wrong for people to take the time of the court in all cases. The Honorable Supreme Court has settled many matters. Should some matters not be in the realm of policy? That's a
That is
limited
why
point I
I was
started
telling
with.
you.
Now, who'd like to
They
respond
have
to
a
that?
right. They
Swapnil wanted to make a point. I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Chandran,
Can I make a small
please allow me
point,
the courtesy to
Arnab?
talk. You see, that the thing is that the Foreigners Act comes into play. These are infiltrators, illegal immigrants. They need to be deported. They don't have a fundamental right to reside and settle in this country like you and I do. Plain and simple. We have to protect the demographic structure of the constitution of our country as per the constitution. And that is exactly what the Supreme Court is doing by hearing this case out. Should it find any amount of credibility in this, which I don't think there is. Arnab, going forward, I am sure, given the fact that there is a Citizenship Amendment Act rules that have come into play very recently, there are bound to be some litigations or some proceedings more frivolous, some genuine. And the Supreme Court will have to be very, very strict about it and levy heavy fines, which it does, heavy penalties on frivolous litigators, so that it boots these cases out like a roll call and an attendance roll call at a school and say that this is out, this is out, this is out. The other thing is, Arnab, all these, as you rightly pointed out, that these proceedings are quasi-political. Since they do not muster enough strength to argue out in the parliament, they file these bogus cases and try to defenestrate the government. The government is doing a lovely job as far as ensuring that minorities who have been persecuted outside, being Hindus, Parsis, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, not Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, etc., under the Citizenship Amendment Act can apply for quicker citizenship as per these rules here. So that is the background of this, a silent background hovering behind these kind of bogus petitions and bogus proceedings that you and I are noticing today. You have a very, very valid point that the Supreme Court needs to look at more important cases, 80,439 that you pointed out in 2023, as of 2023. That's a mind-boggling number, and many will come, with people, with citizens filing a lot of their cases as appellate courts, etc., and all of those things, or even under Article 32, which is a direct approach to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will have to come out tough on these kind of things, and the government, unfortunately, will try its best, but the opposition is not mature enough in this country. And there will be more and more of this nonsense coming.
The pressure builds up, however. The pressure builds up.
Need to speed it up.
I must concede. I must concede here, Swapnil. I want to get in the others. What happens is, and one can understand that the pressure builds up.
The Supreme Court issued the notice in 2017. The matters are pending. So there is a prima facie case. Sir, being a lawyer, you should not do like this, please. The undocumented migrant workers.
I'm not saying anything to your point. I'm asking Arnab to speak. Then you can make your point. That's all I'm saying. I'm not scoffing at you.
The Supreme Court found some prima facie case in that matter. That's why the Supreme Court issued the notice. The matter is pending for
we are on a
6-7 years.
He's on a different point altogether, Mr. Chandran. Please hear him out.
We are on a little bit. So what I'm saying is, first of all, we must be practical. Yes, RP.
I have a very small point. All these cases which are being contested for Rohingyas are from a certain section of people and supported by particular political parties, like person sitting here from the left, or by TMC, just keeping in view the broader vote bank in mind. They are trying to appease broader vote bank. They are trying to appease, I'm very clear on this, they are trying to appease Muslim vote bank by supporting Rohingya's cause, whereas and opposing the cause of the persecuted Hindus and Sikhs in Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. They'll oppose their tooth and nail, and they'll support Rohingyas who are illegal immigrants. They are not even refugees here. Sir, you can placate your vote bank. We can understand. We understand your compulsion. We understand your compulsion. You are trying to placate your vote bank and trying to use Rohingyas as tools.
And the center is opposing that. The
Muslim vote bank.
Okay, can I get?
PIL or the BJP government are opposing it because you want to appease the Hindu vote bank. When you talk about the CAA law, that this law was brought into power because you want to
They are illegal migrants. If you are so much for
They are
illegal
undocumented
migrants
migrants. They
in
are
the country, please open your door of your house and allow people to be placed.
You are
Give
giving
them space in your bedroom.
The audio is not clear. Get his audio fixed. Tala, your audio is not
Give them
clear.
space in your bedroom and
Tala, your audio
bedroom.
is not clear.
Refugee
One minute, the audio is not clear. I'll have to fix the audio there.
minorities
Producers,
of
can you look into
Myanmar.
it?
You talk about
One minute,
You
one
talk about
minute.
Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Vikas.
Sir,
Just because
Okay.
you
Can
want to
I-
appeal, you want to polarize, you want to
Sir,
know your
between
Hindu vote
India
bank.
and Myanmar, there's a nation named Bangladesh. Between India and
These
Myanmar,
people
there's a
are
nation named
being
Bangladesh.
persecuted.
Why is
People are
Bangladesh not supporting them?
persecuted.
Bangladesh is a Muslim Islamic state.
Do you believe in do you see
Bangladesh
India
is
as a
Islamic state. Why
superpower?
Bangladesh is not supporting
Do you
them?
see India
Why
biggest
Bangladesh is not hosting them?
okay,
who are power you
can
have?
I come back
If
into
you
the
are
debate?
so
Thank you
keen
so
for
much.
Rohingyas,
Can
please, send me the address.
I, Tala, 1 minute. Tala, 1 minute. Tala, 1 minute. Tala, 1 minute. I want to make a one point here. I want to make a point here that in the past, the issue here is, viewers, what should the courts get into and what should the courts not get into? Where should the courts also understand that it is for the policies to for the government to policy is for the government to handle. Just one simple point I need to make here. At which point of time, ladies and gentlemen, are we...
The policies be same for everyone. Why is this
Can I-
discrimination?
Tala, Tala.
When you belong to a specific region, the policy changes. But we are ready to accommodate people who are Hindus, who are Parsis, who are Sikhs. I am not against them. Accommodate them. But be human to them. Why is this hypocrisy?
But Rohingyas
Just
are
because
illegal
of
immigrants,
these Rohingyas
Mr. Tala, they
belong
are
to a
illegal
different
immigrants.
region.
It's as simple as that. They are infiltrators. We don't have the bandwidth to stop them, to store them here. We cannot let them reside. We are not the United States. We are 1/3 of their size and 3 times their population.
Okay, let's get Pulla into the debate.
Accommodate everybody.
While I
So
fix
please
the audio there.
understand, it's got nothing against it's a per se
Pulla. Now let's move away from the specific issue of Rohingyas. Let's pull away. Let's pull away. Let's pull away from the specific issue of Rohingyas. 1 minute. Let's pull away from the specific issue of Rohingyas for a moment and look into another issue which I am alluding to repeatedly. That the courts and the government have two different roles. There will constantly be people who will go to the courts and say government is bad in this, government is bad, we don't agree with this government policy, that government policy. It is for the courts to decide how much they can entertain of these petitions. Earlier, Supreme Court judge on the Tribunal Reforms Ordinance 2021 said that the courts cannot strike down law enacted by the Parliament/legislature. Supreme Court Judge Hemant Gupta said that if a law is enacted in Parliament or a legislature, the court cannot strike that down even if it is assumably contrary to the directions or guidelines of the court. We have to respect the right of Parliament, right of government. Supreme Court, on the plea challenging elections from two constituencies, also had further said that in matters of legislative decisions, the Parliament is the competent authority to decide. The Supreme Court has in the past refused to entertain pleas filed by non-profit groups saying Supreme Court of India cannot advise the Parliament. These are the words. They said, Justice Dattu said, it is not for this court to start advising, making suggestions to MPs about what to do, what not to do. They are experienced people, they have wisdom, they know their responsibilities, they know how to conduct themselves. We are not here to advise them and not expected to either. So, you know, if a wrong trend happens, it will be looked at like the court is trying to school the executive, school the legislature on all matters. And we have to be mindful of these things. Because today we are in a situation, Pulla Rauji, where the opposition is in numbers very weak. And therefore increasing number of matters where they disagree with policy will end up taking the time of the court. What am I saying wrong? Everything will go to the court. And the court has indicated earlier that it's a little fed up of that when they said, we are not in the matter of going, doing things that are in the political domain. Is there something called a political domain or not, Mr. Rao? Beyond all
Absolutely, there is
or an
something
executive
called a political domain. There is something called policy. Courts shouldn't interfere in policy, except in extreme cases if that policy goes against the guidelines, all of this I agree. I simply have one question. You say deport them. If the court says deport them, where will you deport them to? 2015, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to Myanmar, had a long discussion there, and they said, sorry, we're not going to take them back. They got out of here for other reasons from Myanmar. Then they went to Bangladesh. Bangladesh said, we already have 1 million of them, we cannot take any
Sir,
more.
please don't mistake foreign policy, politics and governance. Sir, please, that is the decision between governments. It is not for the Supreme Court to handle. No, sir. No, sir. You can't get into this that you are... No, you can't. Tomorrow you will say the domestic policy, foreign policy, all decisions because it is inconvenient on the aspect of human rights because Amnesty International says something. We have to take this policy. What is this, sir? Are we a sovereign country? Are we a sovereign country?
Similar situation.
So which sovereign country? So I'm sorry, but this is...
Britain, you know very well, the thousands of people who came by boat landed in Britain. Where was Britain going to send them? They finally found a country called Rwanda willing to take them, to hold them. Even that has not gone through. The problem here, why the court is intervening in this issue, I agree with you, I agree with others. We are not a signatory to the United Nations refugee organizations, the mandates. We are not. India is not a signatory.
Sir, in our
we have
country,
protested. But there has
in our
been a
country,
failure
we
somewhere.
can't settle political scores in courts. Sir, Mr. Rao, I am on a larger point. We cannot settle political scores in court. Politics, foreign policy, domestic policy, policy is all settled in the poll booth. Differences in policy are settled in parliament. This is a prescribed way. This is how countries run. Politics is on the campaign. Governance and policy making is in parliament by the elected will of the people. This is the way countries run. Today in our country, abrogation of 370 finds its way to parliament. In the court, CA goes to the court, Rohingya goes to the court, demonetization goes to the court, everything goes to the court. Then what is the government for? Is the government supposed to be on its toes? No, I'm asking you, everybody on, is the government going to be constantly on tenterhooks? That we can't decide anything.
One point to draw your attention.
Why don't you
our parliament does not have the power to pass an enabling law that any policy takes, like, Hitler did in his regime. We don't have that. So every action, I agree with you,
are raising issues here.
Is tested.
And
courts should maybe have a better...
Arnab, can I make a point? Mr. Rao, what you are saying, Arnab already knows about that the parliament has its territory restricted, as does the judiciary. The point that Arnab is trying to make, the larger point, is that shouldn't the government have some leeway? Otherwise, every decision that it takes, it has to look over its shoulder and prepare its lawyers and say that, this is going to be challenged in the courts. And there has to be some maturity from the opposition to say that, okay, let us lie low, these kind of things, let us accept it and let us move on and let us challenge only key things. Now, the next debate that Arnab is going to take up is more serious because I'll tell you, an imploding neighbor is more dangerous than an exploding family member. So we have to ensure that our neighbors are also stable at the same point. So that is what I'm trying to say. We cannot, we cannot allow them to succumb internally. Otherwise, that shrapnel from there is going to fall all over us. So what Arnab, the point he is trying to make is that the courts
also we have to, if you're looking at
justice to our own citizens quickly.
If you're looking at this issue, then Mr. Chandra, and Article 50 of the Constitution, separation of judiciary from the executive. This is, the doctrine of separation of powers should also hold validity. If every decision of the parliament has to eventually be challenged in the court, then does the parliament have no authority? These are structurally flawed issues.
The parliament cannot enact
against
the constitution. It has to be tested. The constitutional validity has to be tested in the courts, the constitutional courts.
We test everything.
That's why we are before the Honorable Supreme Court. And the policies will have to be tested.
So Parliament should stop functioning, it means. Everything will be decided by the court. Then what is the
why did we elect a government?
What is the parliament for?
Why did we elect a government? Then why have a government?
Then
you don't have a government, sir.
Why do 97 crore people
don't have a government? Why do you need a government in this country then? I'm on.
Let there be election.
Then you don't need a government in the country.
Let people decide who is the judge of the court.
it has to be tested
Then in foreign
constitutionally.
policy, domestic
If it
policy,
finds-
every policy we decide by the Supreme Court through PILs.
Obviously, the courts will
Both
the
have
courts will
to maintain
interfere,
that.
Arnab.
So the judiciary, so the executive.
No, whatever the acts you are passing, is it constitutional?
This is a directive
Recently, the
principle.
Supreme Court has set aside many enactments, many sections of the many acts, finding that it's unconstitutional.
Yeah, so do run the
So
country
when
through
you
the
are
courts.
passing an enactment, when
Then you
are
run the
passing- when
country
you are
through the
policy,
courts.
Contrary to the constitution.
Okay, so Swapnil is on, viewers.
It has to be tested before the
Sir,
honorable
sir,
court.
please, first of all, sir, first of all,
point to make to you. What you
Sir,
are
one
telling
minute,
me
one.
is that
Swapnil,
if
everyone
the
on,
government
Swapnil.
passes these kind of decisions, if the government
has to
passes
follow
these
the
kind of
security
decisions,
borders.
it should ask me before it passes. Although it is in the majority, although it is an elected government. Otherwise, I'm going to go to the courts and I'm going to challenge every single damn
Correct.
thing
That's the
that is
view.
coming my way. And even if I make an agreement with you,
Everything.
saying that, okay, please don't
Everything.
sue, you
On
will
some
challenge that
constitutional
agreement on the
principle.
basis that you have
Whenever the
taken away my
administration
right
is
to
taking
sue.
an arbitrary
So that
action,
again you will challenge. So, you know that the point is
let's
that
extend
again and
this
again I'll be
to
finding the
that
courts
tomorrow
and the
how much
government.
people will
So the
depend
larger
on
point
Pakistan
is that
border
somewhere you
or
have
the
to give
China
the leeway to the
border.
government
This
and
court will
challenge
decide.
only important things. This challenge, this petition, this particular litigation, I'm not sure whether it is bogus or genuine, but given the fact that it's timing just before the elections, it is not going to hold much water before the court. On its very own footing
No,
itself. Because
I wish to bring in if you stand before the courts today, any court, I'm not saying Supreme Court, High Court, Appellate Court, Sessions Court, I have stood before many courts asking for justice. I keep fighting for my reporters. We have all kinds of cases filed against us by state governments. We keep fighting, however frivolous they are. I know what the value of an appearance or time before the court said. No, let nobody say we violate the process, we go by the process. Now my question is, Mr. Chandran, let me draw you in. This Rohingya issue, April 22, the Supreme Court said the Rohingya issue these are issues best left to the executive. Supreme Court said in April 22, I quote, these are political issues. Take it up with the government. If we had to take up all your PILs, the words of the Supreme Court, very instructional 2 years later. If we had to take up all your PILs, then why did we elect the government?
Exactly.
This question being asked in this country today is a big deal. There are houses, there is Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. These are, these are words of the Honorable Supreme Court. Sir, then why? Again you bring it up before the court. Discuss it, debate it, center, issue center, notice, respond. This is all that will go on, sir.
Mr. Chandran, please be prepared for a heavy fine, for a heavy penalty.
Yeah, every time when you run the government through the courts, sir, run the country through the courts, then through petitions. Petitions don't run a country, sir. Petitions are not the way to run the country, sir.
The Supreme Court would have found it it's frivolous. Then
You want to litigate everything.
Itself. The same moment itself, it would have been dismissed.
I'm sure this
But
will be
my
dismissed
petitions,
anyway.
Our petitions are pending since 2017.
Sir, we are not a signatory to
There
the
is a prima
1951
facie
UN
case
Refugee
petition.
Convention.
Right, exactly.
Arnab, we
I don't
don't respect
understand
the
what you
governance.
Nor to the 67 rules of the refugees. So anyways, Mr. Chandran, the point that Mr. Goswami is trying to make is very simple, that you are going to be told by the Supreme Court once again that this litigation is bogus, this is frivolous, because it violates, there is a...
Okay, I'm going back to the debate, ladies and gentlemen.
That is what I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Chandran. Please understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are many complex issues that emerge out of this. It's not only about the Rohingya issue, it's the overall trend. Louder. Well, I'll debate this further. I think it sets up for another big debate soon. I'll take a 30-second quick Securite commercial break. A lot of responses to that Rohingya policy debate. Back in 30 seconds.
QSMTHE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Very, very happy to announce that Niva Bupa Health Insurance has come on board as Republic TV's studio partner. Niva Bupa Health Insurance is the fastest growing company among standalone health insurance players in India. It has also provided health insurance coverage to 1.1 crore people in India and settled over 15 lakh claims, processing one claim every 60 seconds. So we are delighted to be partnering with them.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
I want to support all the players that are in the squad. That is big because in the program, you don't have the program here. That today, thank you, boss. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because people say, oh, big squad. But did you see the names? Under 18, under 18, under 18, under 18, under 21, under 21, under 21. And sometimes people can confuse. They say, no, big squad. Do you know why we use too many and we put here? Because we use this guy. Few minutes in Carabao Cup, in the FA Cup, or in Premier League. Because of.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 8 terrorists armed with automatic assault weapons stormed the Gwadar Port Authority complex in Pakistan's Balochistan province. BLA has taken responsibility. Now, overall, if you see the situation in Pakistan, whether with Balochistan, lot of tension with Afghanistan, attacks, Pakistan army officers have been killed in Afghan attacks. We all know the situation in NWFP, it's going out of control, and nobody, not China, can help them this time. Let's debate.
Gunfire across the Durand Line, the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Taliban, whose win was celebrated by Pakistan.
जब आप ज़हनी गुलाम बनते हैं तो ये याद रखें असल गुलामी से ज़्यादा बुरी ज़हनी गुलामी ज़हनी गुलामी की ज़ंजीरें तोड़ना ज़्यादा मुश्किल होता है जो अभी अफ़गानिस्तान में गुलामी की ज़ंजीरें तो तोड़ दी उन्होंने लेकिन जो ज़हनी गुलामी की ज़ंजीरें वो नहीं टूटती.
Now Pakistan is getting hammered by the people it nurtured. Buyer's remorse for Pakistan as it counts its dead. And today, broke Pakistan targeted at the economically important Gwadar port.
Pakistan security agencies repulsed an attack today. It was an attack unleashed by Balochistan Liberation Army on iconic Gwadar port in Balochistan's Gwadar city. It was not an ordinary attack. Rather, it was an attack on China-Pakistan economic door. It was an attack on China-Pakistan friendship.
This just weeks after Iran struck Pakistan in the same province. Pakistan broke and with its back against the wall, reaping what it sowed. Let's debate.
Javed Khan, my first question to you, and General Dhruv Katoch, Director of the India Foundation, welcome, and Andrew K.P. Leung from Hong Kong, welcome. Javed Khanji, this incident in Gwadar which has happened, direct attack by the Baluch, the BLA has taken responsibility. It is a direct attack, it's a series of cascading attacks. You've also seen the attacks that have come in from the Taliban in which Pakistan army personnel have been killed. And the Baluch group has claimed responsibility here. These implosions are becoming frequent at a time when your economic situation is also going from bad to worse. So are you in any position to handle it? I mean, given the way it's escalating.
Yes, thank you very much, Arnab. I think it's quite obvious when terrorism is being stoked from the neighboring countries. They keep on supplying them the weapons and the training and the finances as well. So we have been suffering these insurgencies in Balochistan, and we have seen it. You have seen it in KP as well. Pakistan is battling the violent extremism on one hand, and the rest of Balochistan as well, where, of course, we have seen foreign countries' interference, where they have been supporting terrorist activities inside Pakistan. And it is not a new phenomenon. Eight tried to enter into the Gwadar port area, and they were all sent to hell. And of course, we have been taking casualties, but we are fighting, and we will continue to fight. Why? I mean, what is so, strange about it that you don't know, which I don't know, because India is involved in terrorism in Pakistan.
What I'm saying is that they have attacked the Gwadar port. They have attacked the Gwadar port. They were heavily armed. Okay, and the Majid Brigade of the Baloch Liberation Army has claimed responsibility. You are on the back foot with the BLA. That is my analysis. And you have been unable to defend your own assets. That's my analysis. And Chinese would be very worried also. That is my reading. General Katoch?
Didn't defend.
General Katoch, would you want... General Katoch, let me get General Katoch's view. I'll come back to you, sir.
Thank you, Arnab. Arnab, as per the statement issued by the Majid Brigade of the Baloch Liberation Army, they have lost 7 of their personnel. They have become martyrs. But they have also stated that 28 Pakistanis have been killed. 4 of them were intelligence operators. I think I would like to go with the Baloch statement because they have given out their own casualties and the Pakistani casualties in a very fair manner. Now, when we are looking at what is happening in Balochistan, it is not something, as the Pakistani panelists said that, okay, neighboring countries trying to stoke it with a reference to India. Their problem started right since 1947. It's nothing new. Insurgency there has been ongoing since 1947 in various forms. And now it has become more virulent, basically because of the policies of the Pakistani state. Your statement, Arnab, will they be able to handle it? My assessment of the military personnel, no, they will not be able to handle it. They will come under increasing pressure and they are going to keep taking losses at a very high rate. I would also like to state, Arnab, that in your channel, when the Americans left Afghanistan, there was a lot of jubilation amongst some of the Pakistani panelists that they have won. In your channel, I had stated at that time, there are no victors in this game. In Afghanistan, there were no victors. And I said, while Pakistan may be celebrating today, they are going to be ruining their fate in the coming years. And that time has come. They have got a very unstable border with Afghanistan, a very unstable border with Iran. And paradoxically, their only stable border is with India. India is not supplying any weapons or arms or ammunition as far as Balochistan is concerned. The locals have been resisting them for 3 to 4 generations now. And it is not just confined to Balochistan. It has moved over to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan is an organization which has been nurtured and fought with the Afghans. The Afghan Taliban
there were also it will be a point of concern, I'm sure, for the Chinese because there are numerous Chinese nationals who have been working on these projects. And I'm sure it will be a matter of grave concern, not just for the economic interests of the Chinese, but the safety and the sustainability of Chinese investments in these areas, Mr. Leung.
Well, of course, the Gwadar port and the China-Pakistan economic corridor is an important conduit for China's Belt and Road initiative. It bypasses a number of the choke points for China's importation of energy through the South China Sea, for example, because the corridor provides a overland transport for all these essential commodities, including oil, gas, and minerals. So I think the Gwadar port, of course, is a strategic asset for China. Let alone, of course, its own nationals, the safety of its own nationals. So naturally, China would like to see a stable kind of situation along this onto it. But of course,
but it's
China
not-
does inside Pakistan's territory. It's within Pakistan's sovereignty.
But
So I don't
isn't
think
the
that China will be,
responsibility?
able to
But isn't the
to play a very
responsibility of
important role
isn't it
in terms of defense of Pakistan's
so? But isn't Mr. Leung? Isn't it Pakistan's
oil,
responsibility? Isn't it Pakistan's responsibility to provide security? Without security, your CPEC is going to go nowhere. And you know the situation, the law and order situation. You know the number of attacks. You know how many Chinese have been killed. So they are unable to provide you the security that your investments require. It's quite clear now.
No, true. I've already said
it's quite clear, and that is a reality.
Of course, yes. Pakistan's responsibility to provide security over the Gwadar port and its infrastructure and the safety of foreign nationals.
Now you're getting bombed at Gwadar. Your currency is failing. Your external debt is bad. Your crucial trade route, which the Chinese are depending on you for, is attacked by the Balochistan Liberation Army. And yet, instead of looking at improving the situation in Balochistan, you're making it go from bad to worse. You're targeting the people. Javed Khan, this is going south. The Gwadar part is part of the CPEC. It is part of Xi Jinping's Belt and Road Initiative. And it's coming apart, Javed Khanji. If this comes apart, there will be consequences.
Arnab, it's not coming apart. We are providing security, as you were talking with the guest from Hong Kong. We have already created a special division to provide security to the CPEC projects and the BRI as well. There is no danger to BRI or CPEC. We have constructed a series of projects as far as CPEC is concerned, and the second phase, which is going to start now, as the current government has shown its resolve to give fresh impetus to CPEC. As far as the insurgency or restiveness is concerned in Balochistan, you yourself pointed out it has been there for a long time. We have been dealing with it, and of course, there are no two opinions that there has been foreign interference. And I hate to mention once again the
what foreign interference are you talking about, sir? I'm sorry, sir. What foreign interference are you talking about? What do you say? What foreign interference are you referring to, sir? Sir, what foreign interference are you referring to, sir?
Yeah, Arnab, you have to
be specific. What are you suggesting?
Specifically, I'm suggesting the Kulbushan network. Make no mistake that we busted that network, which was an Indian intelligence RAW, which carried out subversive activities in Balochistan through Kulbushan network. And even we know that we have the proofs that the terror financing is going on in KP as well, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as well, as far as the Tehreek-e-Taliban movement is concerned. Every movement has to have a certain amount of weapons and certain amount of financial support.
Sir, please understand. Sir, please understand. Please understand. 1 minute, sir. Javed ji, I'll get General Balo. 1 minute, sir. Sir, 1 minute, sir. Please don't just attack our Baloch brothers and sisters. Please stop killing Baloch children, targeting Baloch men and women who are innocently fighting for their basic rights, much like the people of Bangladesh did. When you unleashed that, unbelievable terror on them, they fought with the Mukti Bahini, they defeated you. I'm telling you, you're facing the same situation. Balochistan is bordering Iran and Afghanistan, right? The people in Balochistan have been fighting you for years. You are fighting today Afghanistan, you're fighting Iran, you're firing missiles at Iran, you're fighting Afghanistan, you're fighting your own people in Balochistan, and you want to blame India. General Katoch, this is an indirect reference he's making to India. What do we have to do with it? We are watching with concern.
Arnab, theoretically, if India had a land border with Balochistan, there was some case. Some case could have been made. But here, there is no case at all. Any support which we have to give has to go through the entire Sindh landmass and then enter Balochistan. It doesn't work that way, India is not in the position to carry out support Though we will give moral
Balochistan
support
is
to the people
bordering
of
Iran and
Balochistan.
Afghanistan, General.
No. Just listen to me. For the struggle, you see, they have been struggling and they have not been treated well. Even when you take Gwadar port, it is the land of the local people which has been taken away for the benefit of the Punjabi portion of Pakistan and for the benefit of the Chinese. Now the poor Baloch has got nothing. Even when they had that gas was consumed by the whole of Pakistan, but the Balochis got nothing. Now, I think you have been very, very unfair. You have been treating Balochistan as a colony, ready to feed off it, the way Pakistan kept Bangladesh for that time, East Pakistan, for a very long time. Now, I am still of the view that Pakistan is in a position, if they work hard at it, to sort out the economic mess and to sort out the internal security problems. But this is dependent upon the fact that you can sort out your political problems. That I'm afraid you're not being able to do. And
also given right now, and Andrew can give me an independent view of this. No, Andrew can give me an independent view of this. Andrew, the Pakistanis have an approach. Their feeling is that the Chinese have to fund us because the Chinese will use us to counterbalance India. This is the general view in Pakistan, that Chinese have no choice, they have to keep giving us money. Now, my own view, Andrew, is that Chinese don't have to keep giving money to the Pakistanis. And it is like the IMF does not have to keep giving money to the Pakistanis. There are conditions attached. If the Chinese are giving money, they are looking at their own interest also, which you are not defending. The IMF has given you 1 billion after a staff level agreement. 1 billion only, 1 billion. And you are overjoyed about it. But even those will have conditions attached. So I think, wouldn't you say, Andrew, that looking at its own economic interests, the Pakistanis must change their internal policies? Isn't that important?
Well, I don't think that Beijing would like to be dragged into to this as the important player to solve the security problem in another country's territory. But on the other hand, Beijing may be able to help in terms of negotiations, because Beijing's usual approach to international conflicts is not a zero-sum kind of approach. Obviously, the other side, the insurgents, have got their own concerns and demands, and these have got to be met. And of course, the security situation has to be kept under control. So I think the most important thing is to really to broker a kind of mutual dialogue and to resolve some differences, rather than just confining to direct military conflicts.
Yeah, closing. Yes, absolutely. I just want to say, Javed ji, to you, that you're overjoyed that you got $1 billion today. You're overjoyed. You're so happy today that you got $1 billion. It's not going to last. Second point is, Javed ji, just look at the situation. I think China will soon be fed up with you because you have had 789 terror attacks and counter operations in 2023 alone. So no investment comes without a promise of security.
Of course, Arnab.
Andrew,
of course, I think.
Am I right? Am I right? No investment, not one. So you have a situation to handle. Very serious situation.
You rightly pointed.
Very serious situation.
I mean, as far as the figures are concerned, of 2023, it was the figures are the highest in 6 years. We have seen the terror strikes in 2023, the highest in 6 years. Of course, your figures are correct. But as far as the $1 billion are concerned, I don't know how you get the impression that we are rejoicing over it. It is a necessity because we have to unlock several external finances. Our economy is definitely in the woods. And there's no two opinions about that. We don't want to hide behind the arguments that, well, all is well as far as our economy is concerned. But what my learned commentator from the Indian side stated about Pakistan, with stretching the same argument, I could say that there are also fault lines. You can talk about Manipur, you can talk about Naxalite movement, you can talk about the Sikh movement as well. So, I mean, there's nothing new as far as Pakistan is concerned. Your own country is suffering from these separatist movements. And of course, there are several fault lines. Your secularism has gone down the drain. There is a Hindutva right now, which is ruling the country. Minorities are being persecuted.
I think that there is. We must come to a conclusion, Javedji. We must come to a conclusion today that to console yourself with any comparison with India will be unfair on yourself. You are in no position. Sir, only our oil companies spend about $12 to $20 billion only on green energy. The GDP of one of our companies, our GDP of your own country is smaller than the revenue of one of our companies. One Indian company's revenues are more than your GDP. So I think if you start comparing with India and China, I think even our Chinese friend will say that today India and China are operating in a different league. So this is not a fair comparison on you. And Dhruv Katoch is best. We are not wanting to see more bloodbath and terrorism in Pakistan, but this is a reality, General Katoch. General Katoch is a very experienced man. He can tell you what the situation is, the way we look at it.
Unless Pakistan sets aside its political disunity at this point of time, where they will not be able to resolve the other problems. Yes. And militarily, as a military man, I can tell you, the problems which they're facing on the internal security front, they are in no position to handle as of now. They are in no position to handle. It's going to continue for some time. The Chinese are not going to fund them without a quid pro quo, and neither are the Americans.
Yeah, it's getting tight. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a very realistic assessment of the situation in Pakistan, not the usual acrimony, but I think there is agreement. The situation is going from bad to worse. We're watching it. Thank you so much, Andrew, Javedji and General Katoch. And viewers, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow sharp at 9 with the questions people don't ask everywhere and the analysis that you deserve. See you tomorrow evening at 9. Good night and goodbye.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
I am very, very happy to announce that Niva Bupa Health Insurance has come on board as Republic TV's studio partner. Niva Bupa Health Insurance is the fastest growing company among standalone health insurance players in India. It has also provided health insurance coverage to 1.1 crore people in India and settled over 15 lakh claims, processing one claim every 60 seconds. So we are
From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The reality is that the High Court is not providing any cover for Arvind Kejriwal, not giving him any relief. You all know what's been going on, viewers. For the last many months, many weeks, many months, Arvind Kejriwal has been somehow desperately trying to avoid facing the Enforcement Directorate investigation in Liquorgate. Now, what has happened today is that effectively today the High Court has told him to stop doing that. Kejriwal fears, Kejriwal thinks, in a way Kejriwal is convinced, it seems, that he will be arrested within 1 or 2 appearances before the investigating agencies, before the enforcement directorate. So he's buying time as much as he can, putting top lawyers, Abhishek Manu Singhvi and all that. But the High Court's attitude, number 1. K. Kavita's arrest last week, number 2. The fact that the Supreme Court has said that there is a prima facie case in Liquorgate, number 3. All of these together are very bad signs for the AAP and Arvind Kejriwal. It is for the agencies and the government to decide now. Do they have enough proof to officially name him as a co-conspirator and arrest him? And if indeed Kejriwal is arrested, either by the CBI or the Enforcement Directorate, will it damage the Aam Aadmi Party or will it give them sympathy? Dear viewers of Republic, here is my analysis on this. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, at this stage of his political career, facing Liquorgate, with many of his colleagues in jail, with adverse observations of the High Court and the Supreme Court, is walking on a razor's edge now, viewers. And what do I expect? Well, I expect some very quick developments over the next 1 week in this case, so watch the space. That's debate number 1 for that reason tonight, because after back-to-back ducking, open defiance, top lawyers, the Delhi court has pulled up Kejriwal, but why won't he appear? Debate number 2 this evening, viewers. The centre makes its position clear on Rohingyas, but my view is something else. My view is there are so many other matters that the highest courts of the country, the appellate courts, the Supreme Court, should be looking at. No disrespect, but is it necessary to really spend the time of the court on every PIL? That's debate number 2. And debate number 3 this evening. More than 10 bomb attacks, incessant firing in Gwadar, Pakistan reaping what it has sowed, big trouble there. That's debate 3. And here are the headlines. This Wednesday evening, ladies and gentlemen, on the debate tonight. Big development in Liquorgate as the Delhi High Court pulls up Kejriwal, asks, why are you not appearing before the Enforcement Directorate? Centre makes stand clear on the Rohingya crisis, says they are illegal infiltrators who have no right to settle and reside in India. Complete shock over the Badaun horror. 2 children brutally killed, 1 critically injured. The accused is killed in an encounter by the UP police. 1 is still on the run. Big controversy as the DMK promises no CA implementation, no UCC rollout in manifesto. BJP slams appeasement. Global support for the Prime Minister ahead of the elections. Putin extends the invite. Zelensky hopeful about his role in establishing peace. And Baloch group strikes Pakistan's Gwadar. More than 10 bomb attacks and incessant firing reported. 8 gunmen killed. And ladies and gentlemen, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has been ducking the central